most B2B tech firms think that Facebook ads just don't work for them. They say that their audience isn't there. They say that Facebook is only for e-commerce brands, only for soccer moms. But let me tell you this, after running campaigns at this point, probably about for 50 different clients, I can tell you with 100% certainty that Meta ads does work for B2B tech firms. And in this video, I'm going to show you and walk you through how to get ahead of 99% of B2B tech firms using Meta ads, not by just like hacking the platform, but by fixing the way that you test offers, how you structure your funnel, and how you actually understand your numbers. So if you're a B2B tech founder of a SaaS product, a consultancy, or an AI product, you are in the right place, and you're going to get to learn a framework that you can actually start implementing today to run Meta ads. Now, before we go ahead and dive into things, if you guys want to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure that you ping that notification bell so you don't miss out on my weekly videos regarding B2B tech growth strategies. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive into things. All right, so first thing that I want to start with is why 99% of B2B tech firms fail with Meta ads. And the reason I see a lot of B2B tech firms fail is because, first of all, they're not testing enough offers. And when you're not testing enough offers, what happens is that you're not giving yourself enough chances on goal. You have to think about it like a soccer game, right? The person who shoots more is going to obviously score more. So you want to start to test different types of offers, test different types of messaging so you can find that winning messaging that's going to resonate with your market. The second reason as to why I see a lot of people fail with Meta ads is they're running complex funnels. And this goes to people running any types of ads. You want to make sure that your funnel is super clean, super simple, and it doesn't place a lot of friction, because if you're placing more friction within the funnel, you're going to have a way higher cost per lead and a way higher cost per qualified book call. And there's what I call necessary friction that we'll talk about here in the video, and what I call unnecessary friction. So make sure that you're not putting unnecessary friction that causes your lead costs and your book call costs to skyrocket. The last reason as to why I see a lot of people fail with Meta ads, this might be one of the most popular ones, is their sales process. They don't know exactly how to conduct a sales process. They probably sold only to referral traffic or warm traffic or organic traffic. So they can make a lot of these mistakes that they typically make with that side of the business, which you can't make on cold traffic, right? It's very unforgiving, and it's a lot harder to close these deals. So you have to make sure that you have a proper sales process in place to make sure you're maximizing your ROIs. So how do we start, and what should we talk about in terms of you guys running Meta ads? What does that look like? So before I go ahead and talk about exactly the frameworks that you should leverage in terms of ad copy, the funnel, and the sales process, let's first start at the fundamentals, right? In terms of what type of company you are. So if you're a consultancy, if you could do custom work, you could work with a lot of types of clients, you work with a lot of different types of industries, this is going to be to your advantage because you can test a lot of different markets and you can figure out which market or ICP is resonating best with your messaging. Because a lot of times we talk with consultancies, they don't care what to sell. They don't care exactly like what they need to sell. They'll just sell whatever the market wants, and that's completely fine. So what you want to do as a consultancy, if you do any type of custom work, is you want to figure out who are the past 3 to 4 different clients that you've had, what do they come to you with, and you want to start to build out your offers around some of your client base that you have or some of the client base that you wish to have. So identify 3 to 4 different ICPs, and then identify a clear offer for each ICP, and make sure that you're writing specific messaging for that market, like talk in their language, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then you just want to test these 3 to 4 different offers, and you want to see which one resonates the best. You get that offer, and now you can then create another 4 different types of messaging of that offer that resonates the best with the ICP. So it's like a continued optimization cycle. So that's if you're a consultancy. Now, if you're a product or you sell a product and you only serve one ICP, it's a little bit different in terms of how you want to test. So you have that same ICP, and you have that same core offer, but now you want to test 3 different angles of that different offer. So you may be able to serve only logistic industry, CTOs. Those are the only people that you can serve. So you're going to create different angles around what your product solves. So the different problems that your product solves and different offer statements in terms of what you can test. So you still want to test 3 to 4 different messaging cycles, but you want to do so calibrated to a specific industry. So now that we understand, right, if you're a product or if you're a consultancy, typically you're going to fall within one of those buckets, this is how you should be thinking about how you're going to test different types of offers and different types of messaging angles. So now that you understand like the fundamental level, let's get into more of the specifics in terms of how you can build out your offer statements. Now, the simple formula that I use for creating offer statements is we help ICP by unique selling point and time frame so that they can get big benefit, right? And so this is a structure. You don't have to follow this verbatim, but this is a way that we can kind of start to think about how we should create these offer statements. Now, one of the things that I include in here is putting in a guarantee. Now, guarantees are optional. They're not going to make or break your campaign, especially if you're in the tech industry. For example, if you're selling like growth or marketing, sometimes guarantees do help a lot because you're selling to a very skeptical market. But typically with with Meta ads, the level of sophistication isn't at that level. So you don't have to put in guarantees. They definitely can help, but they're not going to make or break your offers and your messaging. So once you understand that offer statement formula, you're going to want to create different types of offer statements, right? And then you're going to plug them into the ad copy. And this is the ad copy that I recommend that you guys go ahead and use in terms of a framework. And you guys can obviously mix and match this to your company and the offers that you develop. Now, we test two types of ads here over at Textwasive. And the first ad is a static ad, meaning it's an image-based ad. And we keep these very simple, and you have to limit the amount of characters that you put inside this ad so that it really hits with your audience. The second ad that we run are video ads. And I'm going to talk through the specific of each of those, but here's the overall framework that you should follow. So for a static ad, you want to make sure that you have an ICP callout, and this is going to be in both ads, but ICP callout at the top of the ad. Then you're going to have a pain point hook, so talking about a specific pain point that your offer obviously solves. And then you want to talk about, here's how we can help you by using this unique selling point, right, in the time frame, and now you can get this big benefit to your business. And then you ideally want to have some proof within this ad itself and a call to action, booking a call or click the video to learn more. So that's the framework for a static ad. So ICP callout, pain point hook, big promise, proof, CTA. Now for a video ad, the benefit of having a video ad is that you can explain your offer more in depth, and you have more characters, you have more words that you can use. Typically good video ads are around a minute to a minute and a half length. So what you're gonna do in a video ad is very similar to a static ad. It's gonna follow a similar framework, right? You're gonna have a hook plus that ICP callout. You're also going to have that offer statement that comes right after. And then you're going to have key benefits, key benefit 1, 2, and 3, and then a call to action. And you can also make sure that you include proof in here within the video ads as well. And you can split test this and see exactly what comes better, if there's proof or no proof, or guarantee or no guarantee. There's so many different types of split tests that you can run. But for this video and simplicity's sake, this is how you can keep it simple, right? So just follow this framework, build out all of those different offer statements. And now that you have that for both static and video ads, now you can go ahead and test these and see exactly which one performs better. Biggest thing that you want to do for static ads is keep them super simple, right? Don't overcomplicate it. It could just literally be like a white background with just the offer statement and the text on it. We've seen the simplest ads perform really well. And for the video ads, just hire a UGC actor or go ahead and just record these yourself and then just test them. The biggest thing is you just want to test and you need to get feedback from the market and see which one is performing the best. And so what you do with this, now that you have 3 to 4 different, angles that you've now created from static and video ads, is you're going to now want to throw these into Meta, into one campaign, and then see which of them performs the best. So the next thing is, now that you've recorded these ads, you have to build out the funnel. And the funnel is a very simple flow. I don't want you to overcomplicate this. And this is the exact flow that we actually use over here with our clients and even within our own business. Is you're going to have an ad that goes to a landing page, which has an opt-in. On that opt-in, they're going to be able to put in their name, their phone number, their email address to get more information. Now, once they go through that opt-in, it's going to bring them to an application page. This page is super important because this is going to be able to qualify people to, first of all, make sure you're talking to the right person. And secondly, to make sure you're training the pixel, which is a little bit more technical side of things. The pixel is what is able to find the people to target that Facebook uses. And so you want to make sure that your pixel is getting trained on those qualified people that come through your funnel. And then after they fill out the application page, they go straight to a Calendly to book a call. And that's it. Like, it's super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And also what I don't recommend you use, some people will use this, are lead forms. In our experience, lead forms have brought very low quality in through our clients and even through our own funnels. And so we recommend that you don't run those because you're just going to be dealing with a lot of lower quality leads and a lot of bot and spammy traffic. So now that we understand the simple funnel flow, you can set this up using Go High Level, ClickFunnels, go to Fiverr, like hire somebody to build out this exact process. It's not that complicated. You just want to make sure you have it very simple. Now, before I go ahead and continue through this video and show you guys the rest of this process, real quick, if you guys are looking to get this built out within your business and you're curious in terms of like, hey, I don't want to do all this. I just want someone to help me kind of build out my offers and build out my funnels. Go ahead and click the link in the description and book a call with me, and I'll be happy to walk you through our process to see whether or not it's a fit for you. If it's not, I can kind of just point you in the right direction of someone that might be able to help you. And if it is, we'll talk about what that looks like in terms of us working together. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, so now that we've talked about the funnel flow, let's talk about once they actually book a call. So this is everything before they've booked a call. Now, once they actually opt into your funnel, there's a couple of different things that you want to put in place. Now, here are the highest ROIs that you can be doing as a founder or as a salesperson. Is as soon as someone opts into your funnel, is you want to make sure that you're calling those leads immediately after they opt in. Now, if you don't do anything else that I say in this sales process, this is the one thing that I recommend that you 100% do, because there's been multiple studies on this, is that if you call a lead within 5 minutes of it opting in, you have like 100 times more likelihood of converting that lead. So first of all, as soon as that lead opts in, get on the phone, call them. Super simple, and just make sure that you can qualify them, book a call to meet with you, and see if you can help them. Now, the second thing that I recommend, and I've talked about this in my other videos, is using a 2-call flow. Now, you don't obviously have to stick to a 2-call flow. If you need to add an extra call with other decision makers, or it's just an enterprise style sales, so it's just going to take a little bit longer, I understand. But you ideally want to break down your process into 2 calls, right? Discovery and being able to have an intro call, and then a proposal call. Those are the only 2 calls that you really need within a sales process. Obviously, it's going to go longer if you need to bring in other decision makers in, you got to loop other people in, but that is just how you should think about it, in 2 calls. Now, the next thing that I want you to start thinking about is sending over case studies and proof between calls. So the biggest difference that you're going to see cold traffic and warm referral traffic is that the cold traffic, they don't trust you, right? They just clicked on an ad, they're hearing about your company for the first time. So what you have to do is build trust with them. And how do you build trust? You show them proof, you show them evidence, you show them case studies. Now, with warm traffic and referrals, you don't have to do that, because think about how they're being brought in. They're saying, hey, this person did a great job for me, you should go talk to them, right? So there's already that inherent trust that's built there. So after you send over case studies and proof between calls, you want to make sure you're doing that in between the sessions that you have with them, is always booking a meeting from a meeting. Like, this is the simplest thing that will 10x your output in terms of you closing more deals, and also speed up your sales cycles. Because the biggest thing is, if you're not booking a meeting from a meeting, you're now getting lost in what I call, the email wasteland, and going back and forth over email, going back and forth over phone calls, over texts, and it's just going to delay your cycle. And what happens in ads is, when you're delaying your cash intake in terms of faster closes and making sure that you're getting the cash back from your obviously investment that you're spending on the ad front, is that it's going to be harder for you to reinvest back into the ad. So the faster that you can actually recover your cash, the faster sales velocities, the faster that you can reinvest back into your ads and obviously grow quicker with your business. So this is a super important part that I don't want you to take for granted, is booking a meeting from a meeting will help you speed up your sales cycles and also help you close more deals. So those are some tips for the sales process that I recommend that you guys implement. And now that we understand that, we understand how to make the ads, the copy for the ads, the funnel pages, and then the sales process, let's talk about the only numbers that matter. And really the only numbers that matter for your business as a whole, and also for running ads. So there's really 2 metrics that you should be running your business off of, and also running paid ads off of, because it'll help you understand how much you can spend and how much you can continue to get back as a result. So the first metric is customer acquisition cost. Now, for those of you who don't know, customer acquisition cost includes anything that is required to acquire a customer. So marketing costs, sales commissions, sales labor, and then obviously the cost per lead, the cost per call, right? That goes into marketing costs. So once you understand your customer acquisition, and typically what we see is your customer acquisition cost is going to be falling in a range of anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 on the upper end, depending on how big the LTV is on the back end. So you can bring down your customer acquisition cost by getting a cheaper cost per lead. You can bring it down by getting a cheaper cost per call. You can bring it down by getting a higher show rate. You can bring it down by getting a higher close rate. So these are all metrics that you want to be making sure that you're influencing on the customer acquisition side, to make sure that you're getting the lowest CAC. Now, once you understand your CAC, the next thing that you want to figure out is what your lifetime value is. Now, this may be difficult for you to understand what your lifetime value is right off the bat, but you want to create an educated guess so that you at least can understand where you're going to fall within your customer LTV, so that you can understand what your ROAS is going to look like, because that's what we're going to talk about in just a second. So what a customer LTV is it's the lifetime value of that customer. It's how much that customer has paid you over the lifetime that they're with you. And so you want to create an average, obviously, across the board, and then be able to get that number so you can figure out what your ROAS is. More importantly, though, you want to understand what your gross profit LTV is, because this is actually what your true ROAS should be. So obviously, to figure out, your LTV is, you figure out how much that client is worth over the lifetime, and then you subtract your cost of goods / services from the overall revenue that they generate you, and that's your gross profit. So now you understand what your gross profit LTV is, and you understand what your customer acquisition cost is. Now you can figure out what ratio you have. Now, what I recommend to scale are at least having a 4 to 5 to 6 plus ratio when it comes to your CAC to gross profit LTV. So that means that if you put in $1, you make $6 back, or $5 back, or $4 back. And now you can create this arbitrage, right? Where basically you could spend $10,000 on ads, and you know that you're going to make back $50,000 in profit, in gross profit. And that's how you can scale your business incredibly fast, is once you understand your numbers. So you're like, hey, I understand that I'm paying a $300 cost per call. It takes me 5 calls to close 1 deal. So that's $1,500. I have to pay out 10% commission, which is another $1,500. So that's $3,000 in terms of CAC. And I know that my customer LTV is is $20,000 and I make $15,000 from that. So now I know that I'm paying $3,000 to make $15,000. Oh, I can scale this up, right? And then you can literally start to throw more money behind your acquisition. And now you know that your numbers in terms of scaling, and you're going to have healthy profit margins, and you can start to grow your business on a predictable basis. So this is why it's so important to understand your numbers, because once you do, it unlocks everything. It unlocks predictability. It unlocks this arbitrage between what you can pay and what you can get back as a result. And really, as you think about your business, the two most important metrics in your business should be your CAC and your LTV. Like, these are the most important metrics in your business that you should always be figuring out how you can either decrease your customer acquisition costs and how you can increase your LTV, whether that's through selling more things, whether that's through cutting down the expenses in terms of what it is that you sell so you can make more profit on it. And on the customer acquisition side, how you can get a cheaper cost per lead, how you can get more people to show up to calls, how you can get a higher close rate. These are all things that are going to drive down customer acquisition costs and drive up customer LTV. So that's why it's very important to understand your numbers, because once you do, it just becomes a math game. All right. So that is all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Conclusion, right? Meta ads are going to give you that ability to really scale your business and to scale predictably once you know your numbers. And the best ways that you want to be able to go ahead and do this are by, first of all, testing different offers, right? So compiling 3 to 4 different angles that you want, 3 to 4 different offerings that you're going to go ahead and test, seeing which one the market is resonating the best with. Once you understand that, scaling that up, then obviously having a simple funnel, don't overcomplicate things, having a sales process that you put in place, that you're making sure that you're taking people through a journey that has at least the minimal friction so you can make sure you're maximizing your ROIs, and then understanding your numbers. And then once you understand your numbers, boom, start putting more money behind the ads and start scaling your business. So I hope you guys got some value out of today's video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And again, if you're looking for a way to build out this paid ad system within your business, go ahead and click the link in the description, book a call with me, and you'll speak with me directly, and I'll tell you if I can help you, and I'll tell you if I can. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take it easy, guys. Ciao.